Total Self-Confidence for Dr. Robert Anthony. Chapter 1. The Majority Are Miserable. When you look around at your fellow human beings, you will find it difficult to ignore the fact that very few people are happy, fulfilled, and live purposeful, meaningful lives. Most people seem unable to cope with their problems and daily life circumstances. Most people have adapted themselves to just avoid failure. Satisfied with the modest average level, adapting to mediocrity has become a way of life. As a result, feelings of inadequacy make most people completely human. They blame society, people's circumstances, and surrounding conditions for their failures and frustrations. The idea that people and things control their lives is completely ingrained in their thinking. So much so that they usually do not respond to logical opinions that prove the opposite. The eminent philosopher and psychologist William James once said,
"The greatest discovery of our time has been that we can change the external aspects of our lives by changing the internal aspects of our thinking."
This brief statement carries within it the dynamic truth that says that we are not victims, but rather participants in creating our lives and the world around us, or as another wise man put it,
"We are not what we think we are, but rather what we think."
Chapter 2. Herd Mentality. One lesson, a lesson that took us a very long time to learn, is that the opposite of courage is not cowardice, but submission. You may have spent valuable and irreplaceable years trying to fit in and fit into the group, only to learn in the end too late that you will never be able to fit in. What makes us follow each other like a flock of sheep? This is because we try to fit in and conform to the majority. It's time to get rid of that herd mentality and stop punishing ourselves just because we're different from our families, friends, or really everyone else. Much of our suffering can be eliminated if we refuse to allow submission to others to ruin our lives. The belief that our lives are in any way controlled by another person, group, or society imposes a state of mental slavery that holds us prisoner based on our own judgment. Our thoughts become the blueprint that draws from our subconscious mind all the elements involved in realizing those thoughts and concepts, whether positive or negative. What we experience in our lives today is the outward manifestation of what was happening in our minds. We have literally attracted everything into our lives, whether good or bad, happy or miserable, success or failure. This includes all aspects of our lives, including work, marriage, health, and personal relationships. Think about it. Your surroundings, your environment, and your world all externally depict what you think internally. By discovering why you are the way you are, you can also discover the basis that allows you to be what you want to be. Chapter 3. The Ability to Change. William Shakespeare once said,
"We know what we are, but we do not know what we can be."
Does this reflect you? Do you focus on your limitations, your failures, your stuck-up way of doing things, and rarely stop to think about what you could be? The problem is that you have been conditioned since childhood by false ideas, values, beliefs, and concepts that prevent you from realizing how capable, special, and unique you truly are. By virtue of your role as a co-creator of your life, you have the power to change any aspect of it. Every great teacher has come to the same conclusion. You cannot look to someone outside yourself to solve your problems. As the great teachers always remind us, your bliss is found within you. He is not in a distant land, and his key is not in someone else's. No, you have. A wise man came to the same realization when he said, "Be a lamp yourself and do not look outside yourself." The powers and energies of self-healing, health, happiness, abundance, wealth, and peace of mind are within us. They act as natural states of existence once you tear away the shackles of negative thinking. Unless you realize your true value and worth as a person, you cannot even come close to achieving complete self-confidence. Only to the extent that you can truly and honestly acknowledge and appreciate your unique personal importance will you be able to free yourself from the constraints you impose upon yourself. Yes, I said self-imposed. It is not our parents, our family, or society that imposed these restrictions on us. We did this ourselves by allowing others to control our lives. Unless you get rid of feelings of guilt and stop belittling yourself because of your perceived faults and mistakes, you will be one of those who continue the futile, failed struggle to achieve complete self-confidence and personal freedom to no avail. In order to be truly free, compassionate, warm, and loving, you must first begin by understanding and loving yourself. I have often heard the advice to love your neighbor as you love yourself, but until you have a full appreciation for your being and the truth about yourself, this advice will be harmful to you and your neighbor. Chapter 4. Satisfy your needs first. One of the main conditions for change and gaining a confident personality is to satisfy your own needs first. That's selfish on the surface, but let's remind ourselves that only when we do our best to achieve maximum success for ourselves can we be of most benefit to our families, friends, colleagues, and communities. Or their friends, family, children, or the world should come first. This is nothing more than self-deception. An example of this behavior is a person who sacrificially buries himself in a praiseworthy and appreciative project to serve society while, in reality, he cannot face and solve his personal problems. You cannot change the world, but you can change yourself. The only way the human situation can improve is for each individual to take charge of his or her own life. It's time to stop everything else and give the highest and complete priority to your needs first. That's the only way you can ever be free. Physical slavery is a crime worthy of punishment, but much worse is mental slavery. Because the punishment is, as Descartes expressed so brilliantly, a life of quiet despair.